Welcome to Workforce Development Planning, a people strategy for organizations. My name is Andrew Scher. I'm a training consultant here at ESRI, and this is my co-conspirator up here today, Justin Krasinga, another training consultant. Today we're going to talk about the importance of workforce development, what workforce development is, and how it can benefit you.
Excellent. Anyone here know what workforce development is? Just a show of hands, heard of it? Been by our booth? Anything? Great. A couple hands?
Good.
Awesome.
All right, go.
In case you didn't know, this is part of the GIS Managers track. That's not to say you have to be a GIS manager to be here. You can definitely learn quite a bit regardless of your role, but this is part of that track. So it's really equipping those in organizations with kind of the skills and tools to be able to take GIS to the next step and really implement it in your organization. So really the next few sessions are going to be tomorrow. This is the last session in this track for today. Tomorrow morning, just want to highlight a few things. The change management session at 8:30 tomorrow morning is definitely something you want to check out. So for any of you that are trying to implement change in any way, especially in the GIS area within your organization, you'll want to come and check that out. Great session, as well as the other ones that are here tomorrow.
All right, so we're going to start with what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what a workforce development plan is, patterns of GIS, types of training, the ESRI Training website. We've actually revamped the training website. It's full of all new material, a bunch of things that you can use it for, training plans, et cetera, that I think will really be of interest to you. So we're going to go through that a little bit and show you some of the new pieces to it. And at the end, we're going to finish with a Q&A. So let's jump right in. Workforce development plans. You'll see on the screen, we have a very technical definition of what a workforce development plan is. Instead of reading that, I'm going to give you the really short answer. A workforce development plan is simply a training plan. It's one that is used to help your people ensure that they have what they need, skills-wise, to match your goals and to move forward with success. So that's the nuts and bolts of what a workforce development plan is. It's a training plan. So we're going to sit down with you. We come to you, we sit down, we make sure that we understand where you're going with things, that we talk about what your skills, what your people's skills are, and how we can help you make sure they're equipped to be successful. So one of the things we wanted to point out is ESRI has a roadmap, a very distinct roadmap of where they're going in the future with the software development. A lot of times we'll go in and we'll talk to customers and we'll say, what's your roadmap for upgrading? What's your roadmap for where you're going to take your software? And a lot of times customers have those. They say, oh, hey, yeah, we're going to move right on up. We're going to migrate over to ArcGIS Pro in the next 18 months. They've got a very distinct roadmap with a timeline, and that's fantastic. The next question is, well, what are you doing to make sure that your people have the skills to be ready for those changes? And a lot of times we get a blank stare and get the, really? Changes? We need to... So that's one of the things that we come in and do, is we come in and we say, here are the things you're going to need to make sure that your people have, skills-wise, to be ready so that when those changes occur in your timeline, you're ready for it as well, and they're ready for it. So really, this is all about people. Our piece of this is about the people, not the software, not the technology, but the people portion of it. So there are a lot of benefits that a workforce development plan can provide you. We align with your goals and objectives. We customize training plans. So what Justin and I create and our peers create is not a one-size-fits-all. It can be as small as we've got 3 people that need to know what the next 2 classes they need to take are. What's their next step? And as large as we have an enterprise and we want to create a role-based plan for 17 roles and roll this out for the next 3 years. So it can be as little or as much as you want it to be, and we're equipped to handle both for you. It helps you deploy your training resources, identify your goals, and in a lot of cases, it helps with your business case for your GIS investment. Your people understand it, they know what they're doing, they're more productive, and that pushes things forward. So what we do when we create a workforce development plan, we look at a strategy. We talk about what your strategy is, and we mirror the plan to your strategy. We take a look at your resources, how many people you have, where they're going, what they're doing, what they're equipped to do now, and then we match it up and we figure out how best to achieve those objectives. It's pretty straightforward. Again, we talked about 3 levels. We can build these for individuals, 1 or 2 people. They've got to figure out what they're going to do, where they're going with things. We can do it for departments or even special projects. What do my people need to be successful in this project? And then we can do it at an enterprise level. Workforce development plans can be broken down multiple ways. We can do it by classes, by individuals. We can do it and say, okay, these people are new to GIS. This is a group of people we have that don't know how to spell GIS. They're brand new, they're fresh faces. What do we need to get them spun up so that they can use the software? And we can put plans together. We can also look at roles. We've got a GIS analyst. What do they need to do to be able to do to be successful in their role? And then we can look at that. A lot of times what we find is what one company or agency calls a GIS analyst may be very different than what another company or agency calls a GIS analyst. So that's something that we do in our training, in our workforce development planning, is we talk to you about what the roles are, what do they do, what do they accomplish, and we found that even within departments, some people will call them an analyst one thing, in some cases a developer in another department does the same job. So we'll work with you to consolidate roles and make sure that everybody's on the same page. One of the other things we found, a survey was done, actually a non-ESRI survey was done, that talked about project success rates with training investment. And what they showed was if 2% of the project budget was spent toward training, that project had a 20% increase in success rate. If that investment went up to 4.75%, the increase was a 50% increase in success. And if it was up to 6.25% of that project budget was dedicated to training, that project success rate rose to 80%. So there is a clear correlation between the investment in your people and the success of your projects.
All right, patterns of GIS. So how many of you are familiar with the kind of the newer patterns of GIS, the common patterns over here? So I don't know where ESRI originally started. I think we had 5, and then we went 6, and then went 7, and then we went back to 6. And then now we're at 9. So you may see more at some point, but right now we're at 9. It's certainly not a one-size-fits-all, but these are the ways that an organization, if you're doing GIS, you're at least doing GIS in one of these ways, right? You probably have a mobile strategy. You probably have some sharing and collaboration structure, right? The way you're rolling things out, maybe doing some constituent engagement. Andrew and I both work in state government a lot, so there's a lot to do with bringing constituents in. How are you communicating to your stakeholders and to the public? So these are the ways that you're kind of deploying your GIS. So it's important as we look at the curriculum to align with where these patterns are going and how customers are implementing some of this. I'm sure everyone in here has been hearing about ArcGIS Pro for a little while now. Has everyone gone to ArcGIS Pro? Some have. And I think the reason why everyone's hand isn't up is because the answer is no. It's not that easy to just say, hey, we've got the latest and greatest, and ArcGIS Pro is the best, and you can do 3D and it's 64-bit, and there's kind of an unlimited number of benefits to it. But the reality is not every organization is ready to move to ArcGIS Pro for a number of reasons. Again, in the agencies that we work with, maybe one department's ready to move, but another can't. There are IT reasons, governance, things like that. Sometimes it's difficult to steer a large organization in a direction to implement something new. So our curriculum needs to be able to support customers in whatever stage they're in, right? So if you look at the top left here, as you look at new users coming to the organization, new staff, maybe people that aren't familiar with GIS, we definitely have training for, hey, what is GIS? You know, I'm a new user. what is the direction they might take. Are they going the desktop route? Maybe they'll be taking some classes with ArcMap. Maybe they'll get more into ArcGIS Pro at some point. Or maybe they're going to be mostly on the ArcGIS Online spectrum. So we have some foundational courses for those types of users. For the folks that, we'll stick on that one for a second. That's okay. For the folks that are more of the experienced ArcMap users, but they're ready to move to ArcGIS Pro, and the organization said, yeah, we're ready to take the jump, let's move folks over. We have some courses for migrating people from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro, so we wouldn't put them in some of the foundational courses for ArcGIS Pro. Classes around building apps. We got a lot of good courses on like a web app builder and the ArcGIS apps. Data management is very important. Sharing and collaboration is really big right now, right? So as you're looking at getting that authoritative data into the right structure in the right place, the right location, users are going to be sharing from some type of app, right? Whether that be ArcGIS Pro or ArcMap, they're going to be publishing and sharing their data up to whether that be Portal for ArcGIS or ArcGIS Online. So maybe you're hosting in your environment, or maybe it's ESRI's hosted environment. So that's important. Those kind of workflows around sharing and collaboration. So this just gives you an idea of kind of some of the core curriculum areas that ESRI Training Services has, and these are the ways that we would be working with you. Again, some more classes around data collection and management. We have a lot of good new courses around ArcGIS Pro. Obviously, a lot of new development is being done with ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online. Those are kind of leading the efforts with the curriculum and content development. A lot here as well with the multi-user geodatabase, right? You have folks that need to know about versioning or replication. So there's some of our core really strong courses. Again, collaboration and sharing, workflows for both ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro, and then how to really manage that in the enterprise environment. So, hey, we need to deploy ArcGIS Server, or maybe we're not at 10.5 yet and we're not ready to go to enterprise, or when we are, then we know how to configure that base deployment. So types of training. If we look at kind of the ways that you can take training, we have instructor-led training and we have the self-paced e-learning courses. Anyone here taking advantage of some of the self-paced e-learning? Hopefully most or all of you have. So in 2016, we announced that any organization that's current on ESRI maintenance has unlimited access to self-paced e-learning. So if you haven't been taking advantage of that benefit, please do so. And if you need help with how to connect users to that environment, how do we get access to the training site, where's all that content, please see us. We're down at the booth on the showcase floor, and we can help you with that, as well as the training consultant that all of you would have as part of your account. So the instructor-led courses, either slide's fine with this. Instructor-led courses are those, no matter where you take it, so if you take it online, in a public environment, if you take it in an ESRI training facility, or if we bring an instructor to you and we do a private event, the instructor-led courses are always with a live instructor, no matter where you take it. The web courses are those courses that have learning modules, so you have lessons and activities. You'll take a quiz, you can print your certificate. So you're using the technology, you're really using the software to go through these activities. And then training seminars, those are typically a 45 or 60-minute recorded video that at one time was likely delivered live, either by a product development person or someone from really a subject matter expert delivering some type of technical discussion that will then be posted to the training site. So all that's accessible to you and free as part of your maintenance, the blue courses there. Has anyone been to the ESRI training site in the last 2 weeks? Awesome. So on June 26th, ESRI training, we launched kind of the newest version of the ESRI training site. So in August of 2016, you got a completely revamped, brand new ESRI training site, and then just 2 weeks ago, we launched kind of the next version of that. So some main things to note from the new ESRI training site are, and it's mostly at the bottom here, basically in the last 2 years after the training site came out, we really listened to the feedback from the users, right? We want to be able to assign training to people and be able to get that feedback and understand where they're at in that kind of learning path and that development. So we've built that into it. Anyone can take courses from the training site, build a learning plan, and you can assign that to your staff, which is pretty awesome. You assign that to them, they enroll, and then you'll get a notification that they've enrolled, and then as they progress through those classes, you're able to track and see all of that in your dashboard, how those people are coming through the curriculum. So it's pretty awesome. And it works really well. We've tested it several times. It's pretty great. Anyone taking a massive online open course, a MOOC? MOOC, we love that word, MOOC. Those are really great too. Most of them are 6 weeks long. They're pretty lockstep, right? So those of you that have taken a MOOC, there's a lot of content, videos. There's a cool collaboration area to collaborate with other users in the user community. And it's quite a bit of work. And the cool thing about the MOOC is while they're free, you also get a license for whatever software is being used during that MOOC to use during the course of that MOOC. So if you don't have ArcGIS Pro or you don't have some of the ArcGIS apps or something, then you get a license for that while you're taking the class. What else do I want to say on this? Andrew will, we're going to kind of do a little test drive for you later through the training site in case you're not familiar with some of it. But that's really the gist of it. There are so many resources on the training site. Right now we're at about 529. So if you go there, it's a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot to sift through. We've got some great filters set up so you can sift through some of that and make sense of it. But all of you, if you have an ESRI account, which you do, you have a training consultant assigned to your account. So there's Andrew and myself, and there's about 14 of us throughout the U.S. So depending on your location and your sector, that kind of thing, you have a training consultant that will work one-on-one with you and your organization to make sense of all the content that we have on that site. So please take advantage of the resources that you have and work with us.
So that's a fantastic segue. Thank you. How do you engage with us? So Justin just said there are 14 of us that work with all of you to make sure that you have what you need. We really try to make navigating those 529 resources incredibly easy for you, just so that you don't have to be overwhelmed and wondering, okay, am I really finding the best fit for what I'm looking for? We also offer certification, and we're finding an increased demand in certification. I've personally worked with 3 customers recently who are hiring in their GIS department, and they are looking solely for certified individuals to fill their positions. So we're seeing a demand in certification, an uptick. We're seeing success with it. There is a program going on right now that if you have gotten to the point where you're ready to take the certification exam, they are sitting those exams yesterday, today, and tomorrow at the Omni Hotel. I think just right across the street. And if you purchase your certification, I think they're giving, 20% off, something along those lines. So fairly significant if you're ready for that stage now. Certification is a very intense process. We'll talk a little bit about it when we get to the website, and I'll show you some of the resources we have available if you're considering going down that route. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's coming in certification. They're making some modifications to the program that'll be effective beginning of next year that will really change the game for a lot of people with it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and launch. This could be fun trying to hold a microphone and do this, though. So Justin, I might have to have you talk while I go. So let's talk about the same catalog.
You want to still want me to navigate and you go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the training catalog. If you go to the upper bar, you'll see a lot of new drop-down options. They really have done a whole lot of change to this. If you click on the course catalog, immediately you'll see 529 results, but you'll also see a browse by topic bar. And that's really kind of opened things up for you to quickly figure out, okay, what am I looking for? What do I need? And how is this going to filter down? So if we click on Get Started, hit the first one. you'll see again it filters down. We've dropped down to 133 results, but it also filters down and asks you, do you want to get started just with GIS? Are you looking to get started with Pro? Are you looking to get started with online or enterprise or even apps? So it really filters you down to saying, okay, where are you? Where are you going? What do you need help with? If we click on getting started with ArcGIS Pro, third one over, you'll notice those results go down to 19. And now we've really gotten into, hey, what's really going to help me to get started with ArcGIS Pro? And you'll see it's a mix. It's a mix of documents and instructor-led classes, training seminars, videos. So you get a lot of free content as well as instructor-led content that's available to you to make sure that you're seeing everything that we have that's really going to be helpful to you. So if you scroll back up, how many people in here have an organization that uses train the trainer approach or something along those lines? A couple people? How many people in here struggle to find resources for those train the trainers and try and find things for them to use that are helpful? So I actually just discovered this today, I'll admit it. If you go back up to the top, scroll back up to the top for me, click back on ESRI Academy. We'll go back to the very beginning. So I went to the About section, and I work here, so I really have never looked at that, and I went to Why ESRI Academy. So we've rebranded, I should say this, we've rebranded the website to be ESRI Academy. So instead of ESRI Training, it's more, the resources we've packed in here have expanded it beyond just here are your training classes. So we've rebranded it as ESRI Academy, so you'll see more about that. If you scroll down, you can read the nice blurb about what it means. Stop here for a second. We've broken out, you can get a list of all the instructor-led classes, all the web courses, and all the training seminars. These are not subdivided, so they're still fairly healthy lists. I'm not a big fan of them just because it's really a huge list to go through. But Justin talked about the massively open online courses, those MOOCs. There's a link right there to them that will show you all 5 of them. It gives you direct links to them. You can register for them. You can see it. Think of it as a college seminar class. You meet once a week for an hour, and then there's homework that you do, and then you come back next week for the next hour. So that's what the MOOCs really are. They're 6 weeks long, and we run them multiple times a year. They're free completely. As Justin said, you get free licenses to use them during that time. Go down again a little further. For all of us looking, stop there. For all of us looking for additional resources, here they are in one nice, neat, clean spot. This is brand new. So if you click Explore Additional Resources for me, yep, and scroll down, there are 220 additional resources. Now, some of these, I'll be honest with you, are probably not what you're going to look for, and it's a big list. You can still filter further in this, but this includes documents that you can pass out. It includes exercises that you can have people do to make sure that they're learning what they need to learn. It will supplement a train-the-trainer approach fantastically. This will help you to make your people successful. And that's what we're really in the business to do here, is to make you all successful.
And on that, just real quick, on that topic of the train-the-trainer, one recommendation we have for organizations is go to one of the web courses that everybody will be logged into and do something during a lunch break or maybe after hours, but do kind of someone will proctor that web course and you all kind of walk through it together. So you'll be able to kind of learn that in an environment where you can kind of learn from each other and through your peers. So that's a good way to kind of navigate through some of the web stuff.
You want to talk about learning plans? So again, from that main page, if you go to the catalog, there's a section called Learning Plans. Learning Plans are something that we've just added. They're new to our website, and they're interactive. They allow you, as a user, to create a learning plan. You can sit down, you can create your own learning plan, you can create one for a team, and you can actually assign it to your team. So you can pick out the 2 or 3 courses you want that team to take. You can assign it to individuals. When they accept that learning plan, you then can track how they're doing and what they're doing with their courses. So it's a way for you to make sure and manage your people to make sure that they're getting what they need. There are also pre-existing learning plans that are available on here. Some are made by ESRI, some are made by users. So you can make a learning plan, you can actually publish it, and once it gets vetted, you can then have it posted on the website. The way you want to look at this, though, if you look down at the bottom, the one that says Enterprise Administration Associate 10.5 Certification, last one down in the middle right there on the screen, it says created by ESRI. That means we came up with that, we put it together, it's one of ours. If you see one like at the top corner, it says created by Laura Bowden on June 26, 2018, that was created by a user. She, in fact, happens to be from ESRI, but those are user-created learning plans. So I always say when you look at this, if you're going to grab a learning plan from here, take an extra second, look where it's coming from, and just kind of verify. If it's from ESRI, great, launch, jump at it. If it's not, you may want to check through it and make sure, okay, does this really have everything I need to get through it? But a great resource. I think the fact that you can assign these to people and you can create your own is really a game changer for a lot of people.
The other cool thing is you can assign them, you can copy them. So hey, we like this plan, you can copy it and it'll put it in your dashboard, and then you can share them. So that's really the way you can do that. So if you share it, it's different than assigning it because you're not going to track that progress. But you can imagine, like Andrew was saying, in terms of who's created some of these learning plans, as time goes by, you can imagine that this will be pretty full of learning plans that people have created. So if you think about that, then it's going to be overwhelming at some point again because there will be so many learning plans in there. You can't really go wrong with learning too much, but potentially you might be missing something if one of those learning plans doesn't have what you need. So again, I want to reiterate, that's where you work with your training consultant to really understand the needs in terms of the curriculum.
So let's take a look at one of these learning plans. Click on that Enterprise Administration Associate one for me, if you would. So when you open one of these learning plans, it gives you a description of the plan. This is what it's going to talk to you about. You can look at the top. There's an enroll button. You can also see, you can choose this as one of your favorites. You can copy it. You can forward it. You can share it. You can assign it. And it also tells you how many people are enrolled. So you can see how popular this plan is and whether people are truly using this or not. If you scroll down, you'll see what the goals are for this. You'll see the software that's used during this plan, and then you'll see the classes that are involved in this plan. All those classes are hot linked. So you can immediately click on those classes. If they're an instructor-led class, it'll take you to the registration page. If they are a web-based class, it'll take you to the sign-up page so that you can sign up and get started. So I just wanted you to be able to see what a plan looks like as we're going.
So those of you who've been on the ESRI training site, you know that it's identity-based. So you have an identity in the ESRI training curriculum. So it'll be an ESRI account that you use. A lot of organizations have had a difficult time getting people connected. Sometimes you have folks that have been with another organization, or maybe they had a public account before, and now they have an account with your organization. So again, work with us. We can help get any training ported over to the right account. All of that training will persist with that user as they move through whatever training they're taking. So come to us with those needs as they arise, because it's really important that your folks get wired up and connected to that training site.
Good. All right. All right, that leads us to the end. Do we have any questions?
Gentleman right here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's tracked and accessible to you through the reports function in MyESRI.
That's actually a really good point, real quick before we move on. So MyESRI now has all of that, like you were saying. You can run reports, you can filter by what type of training was taken, you can see who's taken what. So that's a great resource, because those users in the training site, they're connected to your organization through MyESRI. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. So the question is, does ESRI have a a list of folks, GIS technicians, or so that you can leverage when you need to hire someone or bring someone in. No, and the short answer is no, we don't keep a list like that. We can provide you with instructors for the classes from ESRI, but when it comes to a list, not that I'm aware of.
Have you heard of GeoNet or been connected with GeoNet yet? Okay, we'll talk afterwards. Who here is familiar with been connected to GeoNet? All right, so that is the GIS user community that ESRI is promoting and developing, and that's where you can find a lot of that really great information. We can also help, as a training consultant, help you connect with other user communities in the GIS world. So yeah, we have resources for that. What Andrew's referring to is we work with you and find that instructor-led trainer. You know, they're going to be coming on site or remotely doing those live instructor-led courses for you. Yep. So.
Excellent. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Sure. Sure. The question is, can we talk a little bit more about certifications and ArcGIS Pro specifically, and what we have? Absolutely. So certification, and that was, let me jump back real quick because that was one thing that I had wanted to show you.
As he's jumping to that, I think your question was even more specifically around ArcGIS Pro certification, right? Yeah, so there isn't currently an ArcGIS Pro specific certification. That likely could be coming soon. So right now the certifications are tied to a version of the software. So either you have like enterprise administration professional at 10.4, or maybe you took it at 10.5, or you have a developer certification at a version. So that's going to be changing. As you guys know, ESRI has, for the most part, a major release once a year, then a dot release kind of 6 months in between. It takes about 9 months to create a certification exam. So sometimes they're working on, say, a 10.5 exam, 10.6 comes out, and the 10.5 exam is not even out yet. So that can be a bit of a struggle. So they're going to start to develop on a cycle that is not tied to a version of the platform. So you'll see more specific certification exams coming out that are more tied to technology areas. So thanks for that question. So
thank you for reminding me. I'd forgotten to go through this. Certification is a new section in our training site, and you can see it's the third line over in the drop downs. It's certification. I've clicked on that, and it gives you 3 options at that point: new to certification, already certified, managers and recruiters. If you click on the new to certification, explore our exams, what you'll get is you'll get the current 3 categories that are offered: desktop, developer, and enterprise. Next year, they are coming out with a new developer certification that will not be version specific. Following that, the plan right now is that there will be an apps certification that will come out probably 6 months-ish after that, so about halfway through next year, maybe a little sooner. That's the plan right now. So there would be a total of 5. But if you click on one of these, click on just desktop for me. Explore the exams. What it's going to do is it's currently going to ask you for a version. Just pick any one at the moment. Doesn't matter. So if you click the version that you want, it's going to give you the number of questions, details about the exam. There's a link down at the bottom there that talks about sample questions. So you're actually going to be able to pull down some sample questions from that certification exam to get a better idea of what's there. I think the real benefit, though, is that line that says download exam information. If you click on that box, get out of your way so you can see. It's going to open a PDF for you. This PDF is everything you need to know about that exam. It's going to talk to you about what the exam is. It's going to talk to you about a description of that exam. Keep going down. It's going to then give you what skills do I need to have. Keep going. What skills do I need to have to be successful with this exam? The qualifications. There you go. Go back up one. So right there, these are the skills that I should be able to have to perform the tasks that are going to be necessary. And it lists them all out for you. If you go down a little bit further, it's going to keep going, and it's going to tell you the tools that you should be familiar with as you take this. One of the important things it also tells you is what not to focus on. And I've been told and I've realized this is just as important as the previous page, because this is going to keep you from wasting time while you're prepping. You're going to look at this and say, oh, I don't need to know that. Okay, let's not spend any time on that area. If you go down a little bit further, it's also going to give you a breakdown of the skills and the percentage of those questions that are related to those skills on the exam. So it can tell you where to really focus your studying to make sure that you're being successful. If you go down even further, one more. It's going to give you a list, one more. Well, it's going to give you a list of the software that's included, but now it's going to give you a list of the classes that are offered that will help you to get the knowledge and the skills necessary to be successful in this exam. I am going to tell you one thing about this list. If you look at the top section, you will see that it says, and I don't have my glasses, I can't see that, it's too far. It says ArcGIS 2 Essential Workflows, and right under it, it says ArcGIS Pro Essential Workflows. Okay? Do you need to take them both? No. Take the one that is related to what you use. I use ArcGIS Pro. Take the Pro class. Don't take them both. Okay? They're going to give you the same material, they're just going to give it to you in one version or the other. So my advice is take the one that's meaningful to you, don't take them both, it's a waste of money. You recorded that, right? All right, I'm in trouble. Don't take them both. Okay, so just as you're reading through the list, make sure that if you see duplicates, you take one that is appropriate to you. But this list, I think is really, this whole document is a fantastic resource for you that's available to you at no cost to make sure that you're successful. Follow up. For the certification test, this is your learning plan. This is your roadmap. Absolutely. So the question was, could you go back and create a learning plan based on this document to make sure that you know exactly what you need to take and you can just click it and hot link and go through it out? Absolutely. One of the new things that you can do with it. And you may even find a learning plan's already been created for it. So, yes, sir, question.
Self-paced on my own, and then the books?
No.
And that's actually where I was going with the next thing.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So those of you that ever sat for a certification exam, you know that you cannot come into an exam having crammed, done some coursework, and then sit for an exam and pass it. If you're new to GIS, you're not likely going to pass one of these exams just by taking these courses. They're really developed for folks that they're in the GIS community, they have experience, depending on the level of exam, you know, how many years of experience you have. These are a good roadmap. You can get more specific as you work with your training consultant about what you should be taking and identify some of those things in the exams, so that's definitely another area you can pursue. But anyone in here ever taken an exam? Is that for one? They're difficult, right? Very difficult, yeah. There's some really obscure questions in some of those exams. You know, when you click this drop down and this button and you run this script and do this, I mean, there are some really obscure questions. It's very difficult. So it's people that are very familiar with and have a deep knowledge of desktop or maybe ArcGIS Pro.
So to finish the answer to your question, it wasn't just a flat no. The information you get from an instructor-led class is far superior in its depth to the self-paced training. Self-paced trainings are a shallow dive into a topic to give you baseline information. That instructor-led class is going to give you a much greater or much richer depth of knowledge that you're going to find is necessary to complete these ArcGIS certifications.
Yeah, self-paced in lieu of an instructor-led course is definitely not, it's not a replacement. The way we look at it is the self-paced e-learning courses are like a snack, And the Instructorled courses are really like the meal. You know, they're 1, 2, or 3 days, very in-depth, comprehensive, going to take you through tools and workflows. The web courses are really great. They really are. But they're more specific. They're more targeted, going to be less comprehensive in a kind of an overall functionality standpoint. So I don't know if that helps, but please connect with us and we'll talk more about it. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Another cool thing that's coming in the next few months is something that's going to be called a Readiness Assessment. So as you're looking at a course or you're looking at courses for your staff, they're going to be able to go to the ESRI Training site and there will be an assessment for them to take that will determine whether or not they're really prepared to take that class. So that'll be really important.
So we thank you for your time. We've been asked to have you finish a survey on how we did today. If you go to the ESRI Events app and you select this session, you can stroll down to the feedback session and you can click to your heart's content how you think we did. If you liked it, I'm Andrew Scher. If you didn't, that's Justin Krasinga. Just make sure your notes are clear.
That was my joke yesterday.
That was your joke yesterday. I stole it. So that's it. That's what we have. We also have future sessions. Thank you. Training services sessions. There is one at 4 o'clock in the Spotlight Theater downstairs. Why now? Establishing urgency for the training. And then Thursday, there are 2 more sessions for ESRI training. So if you are interested in the topic, please feel free to go to those or stop down on the floor and see us. More than happy to talk to anyone at greater length about anything we've talked about. And that's it.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you all very much.